Welcome to my YouTube channel, Family Drama Files. Please like, share, subscribe for more emotional videos.
I believed my children when they held my hand before surgery. Each one promised they would take turns staying with me until I recovered. I smiled because I thought I had raised a loving family. But when I opened my eyes after the operation, no one was there. Day after day I waited beside the hospital window. Every phone call ended with another excuse. By the 13th day I was discharged alone. I took an Uber home expecting silence. Instead I found something that changed my life forever. My name is Jonathan. I am 71 years old and I spent my entire life working to give my children every opportunity I never had. I missed vacations so they could go to college. I worked overtime so they could buy their first homes. I never imagined the day would come when I needed them most and they would all disappear. A few weeks before my surgery, my doctor explained that recovery would not be easy. I would need help walking, cooking and taking medication. My 3 children quickly gathered around me. Each one smiled and promised they would stay with me in turns until I recovered. Hearing those words filled my heart with peace. The surgery was successful. When I woke up I looked around expecting to see familiar faces. Instead I found only nurses checking machines. I told myself they were probably stuck in traffic. Hours passed and no one arrived. The next morning I called my oldest child. The answer was simple. Something important came up at work. The second child promised to visit tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. The youngest sent a short message saying they were too busy with family responsibilities. Every day I watched other patients receive flowers, hugs, and laughter. My room remained quiet. The nurses noticed I never had visitors. One kind nurse sat beside me on the 7th day and gently asked if I had any family at all. I smiled to hide my pain and quietly answered yes. They were just busy. The truth was much harder to accept. My children had enough time for vacation, parties, and social media. They simply did not have time for me. I stopped calling because every unanswered message hurt more than the surgery itself. On the 13th day, the doctor said I was healthy enough to leave. The hospital arranged an Uber because no family member answered their phones. As I slowly walked out of the hospital carrying a small bag, I realized loneliness can weigh more than any suitcase. The drive home felt endless. I wondered if my children even remembered I was coming home that day. When the car stopped in front of my house, something looked different. The front yard had been cleaned. Fresh flowers were blooming near the porch. I thought perhaps one of my children had finally remembered. Then the front door opened. It was my next-door neighbor. Jonathan had helped years earlier after losing his own wife. He smiled warmly and said he could not let me return to an empty house. During my hospital stay he had mowed the lawn, stocked the refrigerator, cleaned every room, and prepared warm soup for dinner. He told me he checked my mailbox every day because he believed neighbors should never face hard times alone. I stood there speechless. A man with no obligation had shown more kindness than the people I had raised. Over the next few weeks, Jonathan visited daily. He helped with groceries, medication, and even sat with me for hours just talking about life. Slowly my strength returned, but something inside me had changed forever. Months later, my children finally appeared together. They acted as if nothing had happened. Then they asked about my savings, my property, and my future plans. That was the moment I understood why they had returned. I calmly thanked them for coming but explained that I had already updated my will. Most of what I owned would now support people who had truly cared for me during my darkest days. Kindness deserved gratitude. Loyalty deserved respect. For the first time, they realized actions have consequences. Love is not proven by words spoken before surgery. Love is proven by who stays when life becomes difficult. That experience taught me one lesson I will never forget. Family is not defined only by blood. Family is the people who stand beside you when everyone else walks away. Never measure love by promises. Measure it by presence. If this story touched your heart, remember to appreciate the people who never leave your side because they are the greatest blessing you will ever have. Please like and subscribe.